Of course, the guest here is Dr. Jen Czar. What treasure do you have for us today?
So I was doing some research recently into minor aspects as a part of the class I teach at Kepler, and I fell in love with this book right here.
Ooh, looks like math.
It does look like math, right?
Hmm.
But it's actually super mystical. So it's called Quintiles and Tredeciles, The Geometry of the Goddess by Dusty Bunker. And it's connecting space, time, and life in this 3-4-5 triangle that creates a triple Vescapiscus with three
Wow.
different circles. I know,
Wow.
right? This is like hardcore numerology. Author Dusty Bunker writes, it was when I was contemplating the most sacred symbols of the Egyptians, the sacred bowls of 72 degrees and 108 degrees, that a series of revelations hit me. In Quintiles and Tredeciles, she explores the little known 72-degree and 108-degree aspects and explains their cosmic significance in the individual chart. The true meaning of these aspects was said to have been known only to the initiates of the Chaldean mysteries. So obviously, I have to have this, right? Um, so Bunker started out as an analyst and had a whole life as like this like traditional housewife, four kids, full on. And then when the empty nest hit, she's like, I'm going to be a numerologist, astrologer, and dedicated the rest of her life to the astrology community and making all kinds of awesome philosophical contributions with numerology and astrology. So I'm like all about it because I love the fact that it goes through inside with like all of these mathematical descriptions of like why
Wow.
the sacred geometry matters. And then
Mhm.
when you're reading it, it's like you get this otherworldly download alongside it. Maybe it's like the spirit of the book or something, but it's like you kind of like think to yourself after this, like, okay, I love Hellenistic and medieval, but dude, I can't ignore the tridecile now,
Right.
right? I just can't ignore it. Like that you get this solid exploration of like if the numerology is informing it in this way and it's related to these Egyptian mysteries, like why would you leave that on the table? So then I found this. This is another thing I want to show you because I know you're all about that design life. They changed the name of the book in the new edition and they changed the cover. So this is the new cover.
Oh God.
This is a little scarab showing you those mysteries with this eightfold cycle that has nothing to do with the contents.
Oh
And
my God.
then instead of this quintiles and tredeciles updated, presented for the first time quintile and sesquiquintile aspects,
Mm.
fully interpreted using the 10 planets in the ascendant. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Tredecile, which simply means 36 times 3 equals 108. Or would you prefer to say sesquiquintile? Sesqui meaning 1.5, right?
Right.
Sesquiquintile and sesquiquintile kind of gives you this idea that they're related. But come on, like Tredecile, right? Tridecile. Like I think that the tridecile is a very nice way of putting it, and it just breaks my heart. This breaks my heart. Why did they do this?
That is really kind of a miss, isn't it? Wow. That's
No. Yeah, and this is like okay. If you do nothing else, you look at this and you're like, oh, I remember what that book's about because Dusty spends half the book talking about this
it's right there.
and like really goes into like all of the minutia of we have our first Vesca Piscis, now we make the mystery of three, and then we get this 3-4-5 triangle, and the arc here is 72, and the arc here around this circle is 108. So
No
it's like a
kidding.
little Pac-Man clan.
Wow.
And like you see that, you can't unsee it,
That's super cool. Yeah, maybe they
right?
went with that because of math phobia, or something, but that's really sad.
You
If
know
that-
what? I think it's partly math phobia, and I think there was this whole tradition of mid-century astrology in the 20th century where people were really all about doing research into this mystical sciences, right? They have been called them that. And the research part is sort of backed off a little bit. And they're like, oh, I just need like ROI on my book.
Yep.
And it's like, wait a minute, you're not representing this like cool math, obsession that people did have because the calculators were the only tools. They didn't have computing when these
Right.
things were created. So like people knew their math and it was really cool.
They
So
really
anyway,
did.
that's yeah, this is the had to show you. Like,
Oh, I wish the design had gone in the opposite direction, but thank you. That is super cool. Um, Let me show you something here.
mm,
What are we looking at?
this looks like a Indian lineage decan table.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Yep. This is also, I believe, either from the 20s or the 1910s. Um, and I think it's neat, and it's also trying to, I mean, maybe it is kind of sidereal because it's trying to tie them in with constellations on the right there.
Uh-huh. But it's not using the Chaldean order, it's using the order that's associated with the signs that you would break up those decans into.
Right. Same element.
Right. So it's like Aries, Leo, Sag, Taurus, Virgo, and you know, go down and then you get Cancer, then you get to Leo, it's Leo, Sag, Aries, right? So it's like if you and then oh no, look at this. Is that a really fancy Neptune or a quasi Pluto?
Oh, oh, yeah.
This is obviously Neptune. Look at Uranus for Aquarius. So this is a post discovery
This is before Pluto,
assignation,
though.
but before Pluto.
Yep.
Yeah, because Mars is still in Scorpio's territory. Unless, oh no, Aries doesn't have Pluto. Sometimes, as we learned from Philip Graves's book, how did Pluto get to be associated with Scorpio? For a while, people were associating it with Aries or nothing,
Hmm.
or indeterminate, you know? So,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. It's these are like the different stratigraphy of astrology, and as you go through old books and things, you'll notice certain things are missing, certain things appear all of a sudden, and people are always trying to figure out how it should work with the knowledge that they have at the time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Look at this. Ursa Major, wait, Canis Major, a large dog which sits up and watches closely for orders from his master, the hunter. Canis Minor, a little yapping, treacherous cur. Wow. Hold on there,
Right.
Procyon. Watch out.
And speaking of our other video, the Gemini has lost the Brick Association.
Yeah, but it looks like a brick, though. Look at that.
Oh, it
Is
does look
that
like a
not like a
brick.
standing up brick?
That's a good point. That could be a, you know what? That you think I think you're onto something.
I know. I'm never going to see it the same. The small bear which travels backwards and whose long, unbear like tail touches the pole star. You know, these descriptions are more telling of the time it was written in than about the constellation in a way. Like unbear like tail. Excuse me. Excuse me. How do they know whether or not bears in prehistoric times had long tails like that?
Yeah, and also look at the left. Somebody's penciled in, keywords, and some of the keywords don't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, you'd have to go back and try to see if these are like maybe from a Ridyar source or maybe some other kind of decanic. And then we have to show this to Austin, obviously.
yeah, I think he might be interested in this because I think sort of like with Philip's book where he's tracing the history of the house systems, there's a long history of Decan systems and degree systems too that
Mm-hmm.
it would be cool to see a comprehensive overview of.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that's what I got for you today.
super rad. Thank you.
All right. Catch you next time. Bye.